Hi everyone, welcome to Elemental Flows. My name is Christina and I'll be your instructor today. Today we'll get started lying down on our mats but on our stomach, and just place one hand on top of each other at the top of the mat and rest your forehead gently on your hands. We'll take a few moments here just to settle into our practice. So on an inhale, let's breathe in through the nose. Allow the air to fill your lungs. And exhale, release out through the mouth. Just take a couple more deep breaths here, following the own rhythm of your breath. And we'll start bringing some movement into our bodies. So keeping your upper body where it is, let's just bend the right knee and bring your foot over to the left side. You can place it on the floor, or if it's more comfortable and you have a block, you can take a block and place it underneath the foot so you bring the floor closer to you. Hold it here for a moment. And now bring that leg back down and we'll repeat on the other side. So this time we bend the left leg and bring it over to the right. Good, now bring that leg back down. Now from here, let's do some baby cobras. So just bring your palms by your head, and on an inhale, we'll lift the chest up off the mat, and exhale, we lower ourselves back down. Let's do 2 more rounds of that. Inhale to lift, look up. Exhale, bring the chest back down. One more time. Inhale. And exhale to lower. Good. Now from here, bring the hands back so that they're by your side. Bring the big toes together, and on an inhale, we'll lift up the chest and feet off the floor. Engage the core in this position. Think about bringing the inner thighs together, and exhale, we release everything down to the mat. From here, bring your hands on either side of your chest, and we'll press into the hands to lift ourselves up and push the hips back to the heels to come into a child's pose. Let's reset here. I'm taking a wide-legged child's pose, so my knees are apart while my big toes are together. Arms rest forward in front of you, forehead comes down to the mat. Find your breath again here. And then walk the hands towards you, and we'll come into a tabletop position. So hips are over the knees, shoulders are over the wrists, and on an inhale, we'll lift that right arm into the sky, and then on an exhale, we feed it through that hole on the left side. The side of the head comes to the mat, and we hold it here. Press into the left hand to reach the right arm back up to the sky, and then place that right hand down on the mat. We'll repeat on the other side. So lift the left arm into the sky, and then send that arm through to the right side. Now press into the right hand to lift the left arm back up, and then let's place that left hand down. We'll do some rounds of cat and cow. So on an inhale, we arch the spine, lift the chest up, and exhale, we round the spine as we tuck the chin into the chest. Let's do a few more rounds of that. Inhale to lift. Exhale, we round the spine, tuck the chin in. Inhale, open up the chest one more time. Look up. And exhale, we round. Now let's add some additional movement into this posture here. So you could take some rolls to the side or move up and down on the mat. Just add in any intuitive movements that you need. And from here, we'll tuck our toes to press the hips up and back to come into our first downward facing dog. And again, from here, since it's the first one of the practice, just take any additional movements that you need to release the tension in the body. And then come to find stillness here. Now let's look towards the top of the mat. Walk the feet to your hands. On an inhale, let's press the hands into the shins to come up to a flat back. Exhale, we release for a forward fold. Ground through the feet first before we lift up to a standing pose. Palms come together and bring them down through heart center. On an inhale, reach up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. On an inhale, we press up to a flat back. Exhale, release, bring the hands down to the mat as we step the feet back. I'm coming to my knees here to lower my chest. Press up the chest to an upward facing dog or cobra. Tuck the toes and press into the hands to send the hips back for downward facing dog. Look towards the top of the mat, then walk the feet to the hands. Press into the hands to come up to a flat back. Exhale to release. Let's ground through the feet first before we come up to a standing pose. Press palms together, bring them down through heart center. Let's do a few more rounds of those. Inhale, we look up. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, we press up to a flat back. Exhale, we release. Bring the hands down to the mat. Step the feet back. Lower down through your chaturanga on your knees or in a plank. On an inhale, we lift up to upward facing dog or cobra. On an exhale, we press back into a downward facing dog. Hold it here. Look towards the top of the mat. Walk the feet to the hands. And this time, let's roll up inch by inch to a standing position. Now from here, let's walk the feet out a bit so that they're just over hip width distance apart. We turn the toes on a 45-degree angle. On an inhale, we raise the arms into the sky. And exhale, start to bend into the knees as you bring the hands down. If it's more comfortable, you could take a block here and place it underneath yourself so that you could sit on it. Now let's drop the hands to the mat. Straighten the legs and lift the hips into the sky. Turn the toes so they face the top of the mat. And on an inhale, let's roll up inch by inch back to standing. We'll do a couple more rounds. So on an inhale, we turn the toes out 45-degree angles. We bring the arms up. Exhale, we lower down. Place the hands on the mat as we straighten the legs. Turn the toes towards the top of the mat and then roll up. One more time. Turn the toes outwards. Inhale to lift the arms into the sky, bend down. Now this time we'll hold it here just for a couple of breaths. Again, you can use a block here to sit on, or you can add some additional movements if that feels good. Now let's drop the hands to the mat as we straighten the legs, turn the toes so they face the top of the mat, and hold. Now this time we'll bring the feet together so the big toes touch. And on an inhale, we'll press the hands into the shins to come up to a flat back. On an exhale, we release into a forward fold. Now this time, take a deep bend in the knees as you send the hips back. We swing the arms forward and up to come into a chair pose. Hold this position for a moment, engage the core, and then transfer your weight into the right foot. So you can lift the left foot off the ground and send it towards the back of the mat so that we come into our high lunge. Holding here. Make sure the front knee is over that ankle. And now we gently bend the back knee to lower ourselves down to the mat. We're coming into our low lunge now. From here, let's bend at the elbows, open up the chest to the sky to come into a cactus shape. And on an exhale, we press the hips back as we straighten that right leg, flex that right foot. Inhale, come forward into a low lunge, bring the arms forward and up. Exhale to open up the chest as you bend the elbows. Send the hips back as you straighten the right leg. Inhale, come forward again. Exhale to cactus. Send the hips back as you straighten the leg. Come forward one more time, and we hold it here this time. So while here, thinking about sending the hips further to the front of the mat. Now from here, let's drop that left hand onto the ground. We'll bend that back knee and reach with your right hand to grab hold of that left foot. Open up the chest here to the ceiling, and think about pressing that foot into that hand. Now let's gently release that foot. We bring the right hand so that it's on the inside of our right foot, and then we lift that left arm into the sky. From here, bring that hand back down to the mat. We lift the knee off the floor and we come through our chaturanga. So you could take it through a plank position or come down to your knees. Slide the chest forward and up to upward facing dog or cobra. And then press back into a downward facing dog. Look towards the top of the mat, then walk your feet to your hands. Let's press up into a flat back here on an inhale. Exhale, we release, chest comes to thighs. Make sure your big toes are together, and this time we take a big bend in the knees as we send the hips back, arms come forward and up. Biceps are by the ears. Make sure your gaze is looking forward here. Good, now transfer the weight to the left foot as you bring the right foot back to come into a high lunge. Hold it here for a breath. And then gently drop that back knee down to the mat. Hold it here for a breath. Check to make sure that the knee is over the ankle. From here, let's bend at the elbows, open up the chest, look up to the ceiling. And on an exhale, send the hips back as we straighten that left leg and flex that left foot. We'll cycle through these two postures. On an inhale, we come up to our low lunge with cactus arms, look up. Exhale, press the hips back for our half split. Inhale one more time to come up to a low lunge. On an exhale, we cactus the arms. Send the hips back as you straighten that leg. Let's go one more time. On an inhale, come up to our low lunge. While we're here, thinking about sinking those hips a little bit deeper. Now drop that right hand down on the mat. As you bend the right knee, grab hold of that right foot with your left hand. Press the foot into the hand here to help deepen the stretch as you turn your torso and your chest towards the ceiling. Now from here, let's drop that left hand so it's on the inside of the left foot, and we reach that right arm into the sky. Open up the chest here. Drop that hand back down to the mat. Lift the back knee up so you could come into your plank pose. Lower yourself down to the mat. Send the chest forward and up to upward facing dog or cobra. And press back into a downward facing dog. Hold it here for a moment. Now let's lift that right leg into the sky. And on an exhale, bring the right knee into the chest as you come forward into plank. Hold it here before placing the sole of the foot down in between the hands. We lower that left knee down, raise the arms forward and up to come back into our low lunge. Think about sinking the hips down. Now let's tuck the back toes so we can gently lift that left knee off of the mat. Coming back into our high lunge here. See if you can go a bit lower into that lunge. From here, let's open up the chest and hips to the side edge of the mat. And let's come into our warrior two. We drop the back heel down so that the back foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. Gaze is forward just past the fingertips. Now straighten that front leg. We flip the front palm so that it faces the ceiling and then send that arm towards the back of the mat. So we're in a reverse warrior, but with a straight leg. Now bend back into the right knee. Still try to maintain the stretch in the upper body. Now, let's straighten that front leg as we windmill the arms towards the front of the mat. The right arm comes down to the mat, or you could use a block here underneath the hand if that feels more comfortable for you. And then the left arm reaches into the sky. Now let's drop that left hand down to the mat and we'll walk the hands towards the center of our mat. Let's turn the toes of the right foot. On an inhale, we lift up to flat back. And exhale, we release. Bring the crown of the head closer to the floor. Bring the hands back so that the wrists are in line with the heels. And just hold. Allow the head to hang heavy here. Now let's lift back up. We'll place the left hand underneath us as we raise the right arm to the sky, turning the torso towards the front of the mat. You could also place a block underneath the left hand here to bring the floor closer to you if that's helpful. Now bring that right hand back down. We'll walk the hands towards the back foot or the back of the mat and hold it here for a side stretch. Make sure both legs are straight here, or as straight as possible. It's okay if there's some micro bends. And now let's bend into the right knee and then straighten it back up. One more. Bend into the right knee and straighten. From here, let's walk the hands towards the top of the mat. We turn the right toes so they face the top of the mat as well. Let's turn the hips, lift that left heel off the floor. We walk that right foot to the edge of our mats to come into our lizard pose. So you could take any variation of lizard that you want. So if you want to drop the back knee down to the mat, you can do so. You could also come into your forearms here if you prefer that variation. Good, and from here, press into the hands to lift the right foot and bring it back to meet the left. On an exhale, we lower down. Inhale to upward facing dog or cobra. Press back into a downward facing dog. Now we repeat that sequence on the other side. So this time, lift the left foot into the sky and bring the knee into the chest. Hold it here for a moment before placing that foot down on the mat. We gently lower the back knee down as we send the arms forward and up for our low lunge. Sink deeper into the hips here. Make sure your shoulders are away from your ears. And now let's tuck the back toes to gently lift that right knee off of the mat to come into our high lunge. Hold it here for a few moments. And notice if you're a bit deeper than when you were the first time in your high lunge. Now let's turn the hips and chest over to the long edge of the mat. As we do so, we drop the back heel down, drop the arms so that they're shoulder height to come into our warrior two. Our gaze is forward. Now let's straighten that left leg. We flip the left hand so it faces upwards and then send it towards the back of the mat. See if you can reach a little bit further here. Really try to deepen the stretch. And then we bend that left knee. Hold it here. Good. Now let's straighten that left leg. As we do so, we bring that left hand to the mat. Send the right arm up to the sky to come into our triangle pose. Again, you could take a block here and place it underneath that left hand if you want to bring the floor a bit closer to you. While we're here, we're making sure that both legs are engaged and straight, and we're elongating through both sides of the torso. Now bring that right hand down to the mat. We walk the hands to the center of our mats as we turn our left toes so they face the long edge. On an inhale, we lift the back up to a flat back, and an exhale, we fold down. Now you can place the hands so that they're in line with the heels once again, or you can grab onto your elbows here if you want a different variation to try. We all hang our heads heavy here. Now place the hands back down on the mat if you had them up. And now we'll bring that right hand so that it's underneath us as we lift the left arm into the sky. Again, you can place a block underneath the right hand if that's helpful here. Make sure you're actively trying to turn the chest towards the top of the mat. Now lower that left hand and we'll walk the hands to the back foot here. Hold it for a moment. Feel the stretch. And then if it feels good, you could take some bends in the left knee. Bend one more time and straighten. Hold it for a moment. And then let's walk our hands towards the top of the mat. We turn the left toes so that they face the top of the mat as we lift the back heel. Now walk that left foot towards the edge of the mat to come into your lizard. Again, take whichever variation feels good for you today. Now press into the hands to lift the left foot, send it towards the back of the mat. Let's go through our vinyasa. So on an exhale, we lower down. Inhale to come up to upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, push back into a downward facing dog. Find your breath once again. Good, and let's slowly lower our knees down to the mat. And then we'll come into a closed-legged child's pose. So knees are together. Rest the forehead on the floor. I'll take this pose just to reset here. So again, connect back to your breath if you lost it. Notice the effects this practice is having on your body. Come on up. Now we'll come back into a neutral tabletop pose. So our hips are over the knees, shoulders are over the wrists. And let's just get the core activated and engaged. So from here, let's tuck the toes, press into the hands and feet as you lift the knees about an inch or so off of the mat. As you do so, we're engaging the core. Think about still elongating throughout the entire spine, out through the crown of the head, and then gently release, lower the knees back down to the mat. Now we'll send the right foot towards the back, engage the core before you lift that foot into the skies. Find your stability here first before you lift that left arm out in front of you. Hold it here for a moment. Then on an exhale, bring the knee and elbow into the chest. Inhale, we extend back out. Look for length, and then on an exhale, we bring it back into the chest. One more time. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to contract. Bring the leg and arm out one more time. And from here, I'll give you two options. So the first that I'll show is tiger. So if you want, bend the right knee, send the left arm towards the back so that it grabs hold of your ankle, and then lift the chest up. If this is too much for you, then just take camel. So come up onto your knees, bring the hands to the low back, and then just start to arch backwards, lifting the chest and chin to the sky. And then you can take the full expression of camel if you want to drop the hands to the ankles. And then we release here. Everyone comes back into a child's pose to reset. Find your breath again. And then come back up. We'll repeat that on the other side. So to start, let's tuck the toes, press into the hands to lift the knees off the mat. Engage your core here while elongating the spine. And then gently drop the knees back down. This time we send the left foot towards the back of the mat, then lift it so it's parallel to the floor. Find your stability here first before you raise the right arm out in front of you. Hold it for a moment. Then on an exhale, we bring the knee and elbow into the chest. On an inhale, we extend back out, elongate everything. On an exhale, we contract. Good. One more time. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, we contract. Now bring the leg and arm out one more time. And you can take tiger here, or if you're taking the camel variation, you can take it. In your tiger, you're thinking about lifting the chest up to the sky and trying to get as much height out of that back foot as you can. If you're in camel, you're pressing into your hips so that you're sending them forward towards the top of the mat. And everyone come out. We go back into a child's pose to release. Nicely done, everyone. Bring yourself back up. We'll come into a seated position on our mats with our legs straightened out in front of us. From here, let's bend that left knee into our chest. Drop the left knee out to the side. Inhale, we reach up to the ceiling. And exhale, we fold over that straight right leg. While we're here, we're thinking about elongating the spine again. So think about bringing the crown of your head closer to that right foot as opposed to it curling into your right thigh. Good. Now bring yourself back up. We'll take the left knee into the chest again and switch the foot. So now that the left foot sits outside of the right thigh, we bring the left hand behind us as we reach the right arm up to the sky and bend at the elbow as we twist towards the left. While here, we're thinking about elongating out through the crown of the head here to lengthen and maintain the integrity of the spine. And let's come out. Bring that right hand behind you, and we'll bend the right knee so that the sole of the foot is on the mat. We adjust the left knee so the left knee is out towards the left side. And we'll just hold it here. And this is a good stretch for the hips. If you want to intensify it a little bit more, you can bring the right foot closer to you. You'll see that I'm adding some gentle movement here side to side. But while we're here, we're still thinking about opening up the chest to the ceiling. So if your shoulders are hunching in, you can just walk the hands a little further back behind you. Slowly straighten that right leg. We'll now extend the left leg and bring the right knee into the chest. Gently place the right knee out to the side. On an inhale, we lift up with our arms, and exhale, we fold. Again, thinking about lengthening our spine here. Good, now bring yourself back up. We'll take the right knee into the chest so that we can move the foot to the outside of the left thigh. The right hand comes behind us as we lift the left arm into the sky on an inhale, and exhale, we twist. Drop your shoulders here away from the ears if they lifted back up. And now we release. Good, now from here, let's bend that left knee again. As we do so, we reposition our right foot so that the ankle rests on the thigh. Bring the left foot a bit closer to intensify the stretch here. Again, you can walk the hands back further behind you so that you can open up the chest so that your shoulders aren't sinking in. Lift the chest towards the sky, and if you like, you can add some gentle movement side to side here. Good, now straighten that left leg. We'll straighten both legs now, and on an inhale, let's reach up with the arms, and exhale, fold over both legs. Try to keep your legs straight here, but if there's some micro bends, that's okay. And slowly lift yourself back up. Now, from here, let's come down onto the mat. So just engage the core, lift the arms out in front of you, and slowly start to make your way all the way down to the mat. Now from here, we'll bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet so that they're hip-width distance apart. And on an inhale, we'll press into the feet and hands to lift our hips up off the mat. You can also use a block here and place it underneath your hips if that feels good for you, or if you prefer to take a more passive version of bridge. Otherwise, everyone holds it here, and then on an exhale, we lower our hips gently down to the mat. Remove the block if you were using one. Now from here, let's extend the left leg out so that it's straight. Take the right knee into the chest. Hold it here for a moment. And then using the left hand, guide that right knee over to the left side. You can place a block underneath the knee here for additional support. The right arm extends out to the side, and we turn our heads to the right. Now let's come back up, bring the knee back to the midline. Now we'll extend the right leg as we take the left knee into the chest. Hold it here. And then take the right hand and gently guide that left knee over to the right side. The left arm now extends out to the side. You can see I'm taking a cactus variation, so I'm bending my elbow here. Start to notice the effects that this practice had on your body, and take note of how you're feeling right now. Bring that left knee back to the midline. We'll take both knees now into the chest and just give ourselves a hug here. So tuck the chin into your knees. And then we'll take an optional happy baby. So if you want to take the happy baby, take the knees out, hip width distance apart, lift the soles of the feet to the ceiling, and reach your hands to grab hold of the outer edge of the feet. And you can do some rocks here as I'm doing. Again, consider how your body's feeling right now. And then let's gently lower our legs back down to the floor. We'll straighten the legs, we'll reach the arms overhead and take one last stretch here. And then exhale, release. Good. Now let's come into our Shavasana, or our final resting pose. You can keep your legs straight here. I'm choosing to do a butterfly variation. So I have the soles of my feet together as my knees are out towards the sides. And while we're here, connect back to your breath if you lost it. Take note of how you're feeling now. And then come to sit in stillness. Well done, everyone. That concludes our practice for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to stay in your Shavasana a little bit longer. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and hope to see you at the next one. Bye for now.